Allora, today I want to talk about a very interesting editorial published on Nature on 16 October 2019. The title of the editorial is "Counting the Hidden 12 Trillion Cost of a Broken Food System." So the author starts with a bold statement and says, there is an unfolding tragedy at the heart of the world's food system, and its cause lies mainly at the door of governments, food manufacturers, and agribusinesses. The situation is urgent. So the author makes a couple of examples. One example is about the food waste that, is basically, so we are wasting lots of food, and we could prevent 820 million people from regularly going hungry. The other issues is the fact that food industry is responsible for 680 million people who are obese. And of course, the citizen with the taxes and, of course, through the government have to pay for it. So it's not the food industry and the agro-businesses, but is the taxpayer who have to pay the consequences of this epidemic of unhealthy nutrition and obesity and many other chronic diseases. I think it's more than 680 million people, much bigger piece of the pie, but still, it's a huge number. Now, the author continues and claims that these industrial scale farms both in terms of huge farms growing corn and soy and other cereals to feed billions of animals that we kill to produce meat, and have huge consequences. He makes a couple of examples. One is the huge quantity of water that we have to pump from the aquifers to irrigate crops and to basically give water to animals, this huge amount of animals. And again, the consequences of this scarcity of water is on taxpayers. And then, he also, as everybody knows, he also says that, basically there are also the costs that the taxpayer, they have to pay, and they're going to have to pay much more because of the consequences of global warming. And 30% of global warming is due to intensive animal farming, because these animals are producing CO2 and methane that are basically causing global warming. The consequences are huge. I mean, these are just some of the issues linked with these diseased agro-business or industrial scale farming. But there are many others that, the author didn't mention. Again, there is global warming, number one. There is pollution. 25% of particulate matter, PM10 and PM2.5, in certain areas of the world are due to intensive animal farming. The ammonia released by the feces and urine of animals, get transformed to produce, again, particulate matter. Then there is the, again, destruction of topsoil, because, we are overusing the soil, we are not allowing to rest and to recover, and we are using huge amount of fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, nitrogen, phosphorus, that they are leaking into the streams, into the rivers and oceans, and these are causing toxic effect. The algae bloom that is causing shortage of oxygen, and there are with the consequences of a lot of fish death, and the destruction of the reefs, and many other huge problem to the ecosystem, marine ecosystem, agricultural ecosystems. Then there is the use of pesticides and herbicides that are leaking into the water, into the river, down into the aquifers, in the oceans. So there is a vicious circle of disease and pollution. And another major one is the destruction of forests, like the one is going on in the Amazons, through free, land to increase the number of animals that can be raised and then killed to produce meat for Singapore, Hong Kong, and many other developing countries. They don't have space to grow, these industrial farms. And finally, there is the increase in antibiotic resistance. In these intensive animal farming facilities, we use a lot of pesticides to control disease, and also because there is a it looks like animals that they are treated with antibiotics, they grow better, faster, and so this is a huge utilization of antibiotics is causing antibiotic resistance, and many organisms, including the World Health Organization, are launching an alarm saying that in a few years these antibiotic resistance is going to cause an epidemic of death due to infectious disease, because the antibiotics we have are not going to be working anymore, and so people are going to start to die of pneumonia or other infective disease as before World War II, when antibiotics were not on the market. So these are some of the issues, some of the major issues, but there are many that right now I'm not able to I don't remember. And another major one is the sustainability of healthcare systems, because these crazy nutritional agribusiness / nutrition business that is the Western type of diet with lots of animal products. Many people, they eat dairy, eggs, and meat, at least one a day. Many people, they have animal products for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is totally unsustainable, and it's detrimental for human health. The data are overwhelming. That this excessive consumption of animal products is the major cause for cardiovascular disease through several mechanisms. The trans fatty acids, the saturated fatty acids of animal fat, driving hypercholesterolemia, and then there is the HMA driving cancer, and the other excessive protein intake through the IGF-1 pathway driving aging, and many other diseases. So the knowledge is overwhelming that this excessive animal food consumption is bad for human health, and is going to make the healthcare systems unsustainable in many countries, developed and developing countries. So the author claims that these hidden costs are estimated to be in the order of $12 trillion a year, that they're going to rise to $16 trillion in 2050. And what is alarming is that, you know, these costs are not being regularly counted, and the food and agriculture industries seem to assume that the bill will be paid, but it's going to be paid by us, and probably the environmental consequences, not only the healthcare system sustainability, but the environmental consequences. They're going to be very, very expensive for many people. So he claims instead of that, you know, we could, you know, transform our agro businesses in a more sustainable green economy. And he makes an example and says that a transition to plant-based diets containing less salt, sugar, and processed foods, and I will add the excessive consumption of animal products, is estimated to cost $30 billion. But the resulting economic benefits are predicted. So if we transition from the typical Western diet to a plant-based diet, the benefits are predicted to be around $1.28 trillion. So basically, there is money to be made. And this money, instead of destroying the natural capital, is, you know, if we do the things right, if the governments are acting and are acting in a smart way, and we change the culture, and we educate people, we teach them how to eat healthier and to buy healthier, primarily but not exclusively plant-based food, and how to cook and create healthy recipes and tasty recipes. You know, there is a benefit for human health with a huge saving of healthcare costs. You know, we move from a sick care system to a healthcare systems, and there is also a lot of benefits for the environment. You know, because again, we reduce global warming, we reduce pollution, we take care of the impoverishment of the topsoil, of the huge use of fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, and the antibiotic resistance, and many other factors that are linked, you know, with these intensive animal and agriculture farming systems. And so with these, I would like to thank you, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.